Hello, friends, and welcome to Pathologic, Volume 1, Episode 10. I hope you're doing very well this Monday morning. Today, we're going to be diving into our first movement-based puzzle genre, so that will be a fun treat for us. And I want to remind you that you can play along by clicking the link in the description below, as always. And I will be going through the rules for the puzzle, as always, right after this, and then we will get solving together. So let's take a look at the rules. Yosenabe is a movement puzzle, which is a somewhat unusual style for us. The rules are: move some circles so that every gray region contains at least one circle. Now, in pencil and paper, moving you would indicate by just drawing a line from the starting position to where you're going. In the digital interface, we get to have a movement that will actually move that circle so that it ends up in a different place. But the two methods are equivalent. Each circle must end up inside a gray region. So this circle with a 5 in it needs to move to end up in one of these 4 gray regions. A circle may move in only one straight line, vertically or horizontally. So this 5 could not go down to this cell here, but it could go across to this cell here. Circles' paths may not cross each other, other circles, or other circles' starting points. This is sort of intuitive, but it's spelled out to be precise. So this 1 can't go up here across this 5, nor could the 1 go here and the 2 go up here. They may not, so the paths can't cross. You can't cross other circle starting points. You can't cross the ending points. All pretty straightforward there. If a gray region contains a clue, it represents the sum of the numbers in the circles which end up in that region. So here's the big logic portion for this type of puzzle. This 3 here indicates that in this region we need to have numbers that sum to 3. So that could be a single 3, it could be a 1 and a 2, as in this example right here. The 1 slid over here, the 2 slid over there, they sum up to 3. Whereas in this region here we have a single 2. We could have 2 1s, but as it turns out, the correct solution is for the 2 to slide over. So everything ended up in a region. They all ended up correctly, so this is a correct answer. Those are the rules of Yosenabe. Now let's solve a puzzle. Today's Yosenabe puzzle comes from Freddie Hand. Alright, so sometimes these sliding puzzles are a little trickier for me to see where the in is than other puzzles, but in this one I am going to look at the fact first that the setter has chosen to make all the regions have the same sum of 12. And that's going to do some interesting things, because the large-ish numbers, say this 8, really can only pair up with one other thing. The 8 has to be with this 4, because there aren't any other smaller numbers. There's some 3s, but there's no 1s or 2s. So the 8 and the 4 are going to go together in the same region. And what region could that be? Well, fortunately, I think that this is our in, because they're in the same column right now, so they're not going to go north or south. And in fact, there aren't any regions north or south of them anyway. They're going to have to go east and west, and they can't go west and end up in the same region, so they're going to have to go east in order to end up in the same region. This 8 could go further, but it doesn't have to. It has to go at least that far, and the 4 has to stop right there because there's a 7 in the way. We can click on the 4 to say we know this one is done. It can't go any further. Okay, so now this 7 is interesting to me, because it before had some freedom in which direction it can go, but now the west region is, the west direction is now blocked off, And if it were to go north or east, it is going to end up in this 12 region, but we already know that 12 region is the one that the 8 is going to need to be in. So the 7, in fact, has to escape and get to another region. And the only way it can do that is by going south. So it's got to get out of Dodge. It's now outside of that, and now we know the 8 is, in fact, as far as it can go. So the 7's got to continue at least to here. Probably only there, because that's kind of the way these work. They're set so that when there is freedom, the circles don't go any further than they have to, but we need to prove that. So how can we prove that? Well, the obvious thing to me is to look at this 12 right here. It's got to go somewhere. We now know the 7 is going to end up in this E-shaped region down here. So the 12 certainly can't end up in that region. The 12 can't end up in this region because it's already satisfied by the 4 and the 8. So it's going to have to get to someplace else, and the only way it can do that is by going west, at least this far. And now that has blocked this 7 from going any further, so the 7 is done. Okay, so this 12 region now needs 5 more in order for our 7 to do its job. Where is it going to get 5 more? Well, it's not going to get a 1 and a 4 or a 2 and a 3 or anything like that, because there just aren't the 1s and 2s that we would need for that. So in fact, it's going to be one of these 2 5s, but I don't think we yet know which one. So let's just remember that for the future. Okay, where can we look next? Well, we could look at this 7 here, perhaps. Where can it go? It could go north and reach this region, but there's no way for a 5 to fill out the other half of that 12, so it's not gonna do that. It could go south. It can't go down to here because this 12 is already going to take care of this island right here. It could go one step, but once again, there's no way for a 5 to get into the other cell. This 5 would be blocked by the 7. So the 7 can't go north, and it can't go south, and it can't go east. So it's going to have to go west into the only place it can fit. There. And that means we're going to need a 5 to finish out the Y shape. Where's that 5 going to come from? These don't see a 5. These don't see a 5. This cell is the only one that sees a 5. So this 5 is going to have to slide over here to finish off this 12 region. So now we know that this 6 doesn't just slide a little ways to start contributing to this 12 region, because that 12 region's handled. And so it can't go south anymore. It's got to go east at least this far, and it can't go over to here because this O is already handled. So it either goes here or here. And just from some kind of meta knowledge, we can be pretty sure it doesn't go here, because then the puzzle will be ambiguous. But we're not going to use that. We're instead going to ask the question, how does this 12 region end up adding to 12 if it's got a 6 in it? It needs another 6. And if it went over here, there is no space for another 6. So this clue has to stop there. And we need to get another 6 to finish off the 12, and it's going to come from right there. Great. So now we've taken care of this region, and this region. This 6 can't go up anymore. It's got to go south. It's got to go at least that far. So it's going to contribute to this S somehow. We've got this 12 region here that needs to get satisfied. And how can that happen? Well, this cell now doesn't see any unused numbers in any direction except for this 12 we haven't marked done, but the 12 is already coming from the east. It can't turn, so there's nothing that's going to end up in that slot there. So we've got to get all 12 in this cell alone, and the only place that can happen is from this 12. And that also means that this little region is done with this 12 alone. So those are complete. All right, great. So what can we do with this 3? I'm looking at this one because it's blocked off now from the east, and it doesn't have any regions in its column. So the only place left for it to go is west, and that's the least it can go to hit a region, but it's already at the edge of the grid, so it's done moving, which means this 6 is done moving, which means we have 9 of the 12 that we need for this S. Where can we get a 3 from? Well, there's only one 3 left, so it's got to slide over and be in that region. Now this 7 can't go west anymore, never could go north. It's got to go east at least that far. Once again, if it went that far, there's nowhere for another number to enter this region to get us to the number we need. So it's only going to go that far and be done. And we need 5 more. Where can it come from? Only this 5. So this 5 now is the one that we're going to need to finish off this E, and there's only one place for that to go. And we can check our work, and it's complete. And that is how you solve a Yosenabe. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and check out the description below for more free puzzles.